Hi class, Mrs. Calvi here. Quick review on a couple of skills that I want to go over. So here we have 6,841 and we are subtracting 2,854. And the directions are to estimate. So basically what we're doing, we're rounding, and I'm telling you here the thousands place. So I'm going to underline the thousands place in both numbers. I'm going to round them as I would normally round. The 8 tells me the 6 becomes a 7. Everything to the right becomes a 0. Draw my arrow to the 8. The 8 tells me the 2 becomes a 3. Everything to the right becomes a 0. So now I'm going to do 7,000 minus 4,000, which gives 7,000 minus 3,000, which gives me 4,000 as a final answer. So when you are working on your assignment and they're telling you to estimate, they want you to round to the place value that they're telling you to round to. So I rounded both numbers, and then I did the operation. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for the first section. All right. Now, for the second section of questions, you are going to be dividing multi-digit numbers, which we've done before. But we were actually, when we were doing them the last time, we were either dropping the remainder or rounding the remainder up, depending on what the question was asking, because they were word problems. These, you are going to have your answer in fraction form if you happen to have a remainder. So, for example, all right, so let's say I was dividing 675 divided by 13. So I would do the math, 675 divided by 13. So 13 does not go into 6, it goes in 0 times, okay? Now I'm looking at 13 going into 67. 13 goes into 67 5 times. 13 times 5 gives me 65. I'm going to subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. I'm going to bring down my 5. 13 goes into 25 one time. 1 times 13 is 13. And then I'm going to do 25 minus 13, which gives me 12. So instead of having an answer of 51 remainder 12, we are going to put the remainder in fraction form. So you would have 12 over, and then whatever your divisor number is, which here happens to be 13. So my final answer is going to be 51 and 12/13. So your answers here, if you have a remainder, you need to put them in fraction form. All right, the remainder is the numerator part of your fraction, and the divisor is your denominator part. That's my divisor, the number outside my division box. Okay, so if you have a remainder, just put it in fraction form. Okay. Now this fraction I have here, 12/13, it just so happens that cannot be simplified down or reduced. If they can be simplified, which means the numerator and the denominator are divisible by the same number, you would need to make sure you simplified all the way down. Okay, so for example, let's just say I ended up getting an answer of, let me just erase. So let's say I did division and I came up with an answer of 12 and 4/12. Well, my 4 and my 12 are both divisible by the same number. So I can simplify or reduce the fraction part of this answer. So you can look at this two ways. Well, both 4 and 12 are even numbers. So I know that I can cut them in half, which means divide by 2. So I can cut them in half by dividing by 2, but then they would not be simplified all the way down. I would have to still simplify further. So let's do that. Let's first divide by 2. And I would carry over your whole number, which is 12. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. Well, it just so happens 2 and 6 are still even, so I can still simplify these further. So in this case, I'm going to cut them in half again by dividing by 2. And I would drop down my whole number, 12. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my final answer is 12 and 1/3. Now, if I would have, instead of divided by 2 in the beginning, let's see. So let's put my 4 back. So I happen to know that these are both 4 and 12 are both divisible by 4. So if I would have divided by 4 right from the beginning, carry over my whole number. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. I would have gotten to my simplified answer quicker. But if you want to go little by little, if they're both even and you want to cut them in half and do it that way, you can also do it that way. All right, that is it for now, and I will talk to you soon.